Hello and welcome YouTubers. My name is Michael Candolo. Wishing all our subscribers and viewers a prosperous and a new year 2022. Today I start off by introducing a SharePoint Server 2016 into our environment by showing you how to install or implement SharePoint Server 2016 on-prem. I will then proceed with the administration of SharePoint Server in another video session, and later on we'll talk about some troubleshooting techniques and how to resolve issues should they arise because they will eventually. Please do not forget to subscribe, like and comment. Let's dive in. I have gone ahead of time and joined the member server for our SharePoint Server 2016 to our KMTrainer domain. It's called KMTSP. That's the name of our SharePoint server. It has a static IP address. So the IP address is 192.168.0.12. That's the static IP address for our SharePoint server. And it is also a member of the KMTrainer.co.za domain. As you can see, that's the name KMTSP.KMTrainer.co.za. So it's joined to the domain. This installation considers a single server deployment of SharePoint Server 2016. Before you install Microsoft SharePoint Server 2016 into your production environment, I recommend that you install it in an isolated test environment. For more related information about SharePoint deployment and configuration, go to Microsoft website. So what is SharePoint? Microsoft SharePoint is a web-based collaboration platform that is integrated with Microsoft Office and with all other Microsoft applications. Teamwork isn't about where you are, but it's about being connected from everywhere and collaborate with your co-workers and with all your teams. That's where SharePoint comes into play. Organizations and companies use Microsoft SharePoint to create websites. You can also use it as a secure place to store, organize, share, and access information from any device. All you need is a web browser, such as Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer, Chrome, or Firefox. In short, SharePoint is a platform for collaboration. You need to have a SQL Server box to run Microsoft SharePoint Server. It is a must to have SQL in order to implement SharePoint. In my environment, I have a SharePoint Server box, a SQL Server box, and 2 domain controllers, plus 1 Exchange server that is offline right now. So the first step that I did, just to save time during our video training session, I've gone ahead into my AD. So I'm into my Active Directory users and computers. I have created a NOU called SharePoint. So for those who want to know how to make or create a NOU, organization unit, or a container, so just come up and then organization unit, you name it, and that's it. We don't need this. So I've already gone ahead and made a NOU for SharePoint. And inside it, I have created 3 service accounts. Normally I was supposed to have 4 with 1 for SQL, but I'm gonna use the SQL server that is already implemented into our environment, the one that we deployed when we're implementing Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. So this is the SQL that we implemented earlier on in one of our video training series. So I've gone ahead into my AD, I've created an OU, and then I made 3 service account, SP admin, SP farm, and SP SVC. So SP admin, as you can see, all of these service accounts are just member of domain users. SP farm, member of domain users. So SP SVC, service account, so it's part of member of domain users. So this account have only list privileges. So I've done it to save time, but for those who want to create a user, you just come up here, new user, there we go. Or you can just come up here, copy, and then do whatever changes you need, and then you go. Okay. So SP admin will be for SharePoint installation, and SP farm will be used for database access, and SP SVC will be used for SharePoint configuration after the installation of the SharePoint farm. So SP admin needs to be a member of the local admin group on the SharePoint server box, because this is the account you're going to use to install SharePoint Server 2016. So this is our SharePoint box, and then let's check, because I've gone ahead and made it a member of the local admin group. So remember, we are on the SharePoint server box. Local users and groups, administrators, and as you can see, we have made SP admin a member of the local administrator group on this SharePoint box. If you want it, just come up, add, and search. Make sure you are in the right location. Okay, and search for the SP admin account that is in AD, and then add it here. And also SP admin has access in SQL Server box. So this is my SQL Server. So I come up here by security, logins, and then new login. But I've gone ahead and already added the SP admin. It's here. So it must have DB creator, security admin, server admin, and sysadmin permissions inside SQL Server. It is because SP admin will have full access to the SQL database. And also SP admin needs to be a member of the administrator group on this SQL box. Local users and groups, administrators, and there we go, SP admin. So it must be also a member of the administrators group on this SQL box. So on the SharePoint box, you need also to create a new rule for SQL, so that that rule can allow communication between SharePoint and SQL server on port 1433. Windows firewall with advanced security, inbound rules. So if you want to create a rule, you can go ahead, you click no rule, port, next, TCP, and then you put the port. I've already done it. It's here, TCP 1433 on SharePoint. So if you double click protocol and port, then you have it 1433. Now we need to do we need to make some changes on our SQL box. So on the SQL server, right click, properties, advanced, and max degree of parallelism. Max degree of parallelism by default is 0, but for SharePoint to be happy, we need to set it up to 1. So just come up here and put number 1. By default is 0, but for SharePoint to be happy on SQL, then you have to set it to 1. I've already done it ahead of time. Click cancel. So what's the max degree of parallelism? Max degree of parallelism. What is it? Generally, the concept of parallelism is dividing a big task to smaller tasks running at the same time. The default max degree of parallelism is 0, and that means it will use all available processors. Setting the max degree of parallelism to 1 will replace the parallel plan generation, because of the SharePoint has a high number of queries that are running concurrently. So it's mandatory to set max degree of parallelism to 1 to ensure optimal performance. Okay. Now we are done with setting permissions. Let's log in as SP admin on the SharePoint box. As you can see, we're logging in as SP admin. So I have gone ahead of time and mounted the SharePoint Server 2016 DVD. There we go. So first, I'm gonna run the PrerequisiteInstaller. Double click. Click next. Accept. Next. So the first part is to install SharePoint 2016 prerequisites under SP admin account on the SharePoint box. That's what I'm doing right now. By the way, I'm connected to the internet, but it looks like it's gonna fail, because prior to recording this training video session, I did some testing in my other HP server to ensure that we proceed smoothly with the implementation of SharePoint server. It's gonna fail to install all the prerequisites even though I am connected to the internet. So as I was saying earlier on, I did some testing in my other server, HP server, before recording this training video session. As expected, so there was an error during installation. You can go ahead and review the log file, but I prefer to do it much quicker by running the setup to find out what needs to be installed first. Okay, click finish. Back to my DVD, run setup. Yes. Okay, and as you can see, these are the errors that needs to be resolved before we run the installation of SharePoint. So I've gone ahead of time and downloaded these applications so that I can install them offline. Because even though I'm connected to the internet, I am unable to install these files directly from the net. So I managed to download them first and then proceed with the offline install. So the offline install, the first one is let's proceed step by step. Okay, the first is Microsoft Identity Extensions. Microsoft Identity Extensions, double click, install, accept, yes, install. There we go, finish. Microsoft Sync Framework, sync setup, next, agree, next, next, yes, close. Next, agree, next, next, close. Next, agree, next, next, yes, close. Next, I agree, close. So sync framework runtime has been successfully installed. So the next one is Windows Server App Fabric. This one will install it differently, so to make SharePoint happy. And this one. So the next one is Microsoft Server 2012 Native Client. SQL Server 2012 Native Client, click next, accept the terms. Next, I always prefer to install the entire feature on the local hard drive. Same, click next, install. Okay, finish. Microsoft ODBC. ODBC, there we go. Next, I accept. Entire feature, entire feature. Finish. The WCF Data Services 5.6 and App Fabric will be installed differently. So the next one I'm going to install is Microsoft Information Protection and Control Client. Accept, next. Select, next, install. Finish. So at this stage, I'm going to go ahead and reboot the server. So let me go again to my DVD. And run a setup to find out what else is missing before we proceed with the installation of SharePoint. So as you can see, setup is unable to proceed due to the following errors. So save app fabric, update, and WCF data services. So these are the errors that are still outstanding. So I've gone ahead and downloaded these prerequisite files. So I'm gonna copy the Windows Server App Fabric setup to see. Continue. All right. Now I'm gonna open PowerShell as admin. And I'm gonna run this command. This is the command that I'm gonna run, and click enter. So we didn't get any errors, so which means the installation proceeded successfully. So now what else is left? We need to run now the cumulative update package for Microsoft App Fabric. So I've also gone ahead, and now we're gonna just double click and install the update. Welcome to Windows Server App Fabric. Let's close PowerShell. And then click next, accept, next. Click next, continue. Completed. Finish. And then I'm gonna go ahead and restart my server. Let me log in. So let me go to my mounted file again and run setup to find out what is still outstanding. Voila. So this product requires the Microsoft WCF Data Services 5.6. Okay, so let's go and run it again. So as you can see, I have mounted my SharePoint 2016 install on the DVD. It's there. So the next step is I'm gonna copy the WCF data service to C. Continue. So now we have this error. Setup is unable to proceed due to the following errors. Microsoft WCF Data Services 5.6. So let's run the command prompt as admin, and let's add to the D drive where our SharePoint installation files reside. Let's find out what's inside. Okay, and then I'm gonna run this command, because remember I did copy if you remember, I did copy the WCF data services to the C drive. So I'm gonna copy this command and press enter. There we go. Then click next, accept, click next. So the tool was unable to download Visual C++, redistribution of package for Visual Studio 2012. No worry, click finish and exit the command prompt. Let's look for the Visual C++. There we go. I agree. Install. Yes. Setup successful. Close. Let's run setup again to find out what is missing. So now we have cleared all the errors, but before I proceed, I would like to restart my box. So all the prerequisites have been successfully installed. Let me log in. Let me head to my D drive. Let me run setup. Okay, let's insert the enterprise-wide product key from Microsoft. Click continue. I accept. Click continue. And install now. So now the installation of SharePoint 2016 is started. It can take 10 to 15 minutes. Now the installation has been successful, and now let's proceed to run the configuration wizard. Click close. Click next. Yes. We're creating a new server farm. Click next. The database server is KMTMECM, or otherwise we can use the IP address of the SQL database. So the server name is KMTMECM. So this is now where we're gonna use the SP farm account that we created earlier on into our AD. and this SP farm account will inherit automatically all the permission of SP admin on the SQL Server box. Let's proceed. So the patch phrase should be long to avoid it being hacked. Single server farm. Click next. Specify port number. Click next. And as you can see on the seeker box, we only have the system databases and the configuration manager KMT database that was created for the Microsoft Endpoint configuration manager. But if the connection is successful from the SharePoint server to the seeker box, then it will go ahead and create no databases. So let's go ahead and click next. So this is our central administration website link. Click next. And let's head to seeker box and see what happened. Database, refresh. Okay, we have the SharePoint _config database. So which means the connection has been made to the seeker box. So after having made a successful connection to the seeker box, the process might take between 10 to 15 minutes to complete, depending of course on the amount of memory that you have given to the SharePoint box. I just wanted to let you know, guys, that I did a lot of testing in my other HP server testing environment before being able to record this training video session. As the implementation of SharePoint Server 2016 was constantly failing. So the guidelines given in this video training session have gone through a lot of testing, and I hope it will be helpful in the deployment and implementation of your SharePoint Server 2016. Let's go to SQL and see what is happening. Let's refresh. There we go. Okay, configuration successful. Click finish. So let's log in. Here, SP admin. So help make SharePoint better. You can choose either you want to participate or recommend it, or I don't wish to participate. For now, no. Click OK. So once you have the central administration site up, and running, that's it. You have successfully implemented SharePoint Server 2016. But now we'll walk through the initial farm configuration wizard. So you can do it either with PowerShell or with the wizard. So in this instance, I'm gonna use the wizard. Click start. So this is the initial farm configuration wizard. So now I'm gonna use the SPSV account that was created earlier on in our AD to proceed with the initial farm configuration wizard. So or otherwise, what I can do, can just go to central administration, security, configure managed account. So for now we have only SP farm. So let me go ahead and register an account. Username is you see, let me click OK. All right, so I have registered the account. So it's SPSVC. Let me double check. SPSVC. Okay. And then let's launch the farm configuration wizard again. Configuration wizard. Launch the farm configuration wizard. Okay, start the wizard. Use existing manage account. So let's choose SPSVC. Okay, and these are the services that we're gonna, if you check, if you go to SQL box, you see that we have, so far we have only two SQL databases related to we have two databases related to SharePoint. So you have SharePoint admin content and SharePoint underscore config. So let's now configure our farm. So there are certain applications that we're not gonna use in our training, so I better uncheck them before we proceed, because this is the initial farm configuration. So we're not gonna need access services 2010. We're not gonna need access services. We're not gonna need business data connectivity service. Lotus Node connector, we're not gonna use it because we have Exchange. Visio graphics service, uncheck. Wakeflow service application, uncheck. and then click next. Working on it. That's the wording that you will constantly see when working with SharePoint. So let's go to Seeker box and see what is happening in our Seeker. So let's go database, refresh. Okay, see now they're adding certain contents. We have another database, WSS_content. So it's still working on it. As you can see now, when we refresh on our Seeker box, see we have a lot of databases now. So we had the initial two, and the other being created as we going through the process of the initial farm configuration. Back to SharePoint server, working on it. Let's add to our Seeker box to see what has been happening in our Seeker server. So you can see all these databases created during our initial farm configuration. Okay, let's go back to SharePoint. Now, before we end this training video session, the next thing that we're gonna do is to create our site collection. So I'm gonna call this site KMTrainer man, and the description will be this is the main website for KMTrainer. Training video. So KMTrainer main, description will be this is the main website for KMTrainer training videos, and the URL will be sites and team site. Nothing else. We're not gonna choose a blog, develop a site, project, community, but now we're gonna stick with team site. And then here we choose site. It's not gonna be my personal, and then type man. And click OK. Then we'll have our familiar wording, working on it. Okay. It says this completes the farm configuration wizard. And this is our website URL. Working on it. So here we are, we have our central administration site. We have our main website that we've created in our SharePoint, and we have gone through the initial farm configuration wizard. So we have created our first site collection, which is KMTrainer man. Then we are done for now. My goal is to teach and inspire people worldwide by educating them in information technology and contribute to the constant change of the world. Not by limiting technology, but by sharing with everyone eager to learn to make you better than you were yesterday. I hope that I can be that person who will help you or give you that extra push in life. It's time for me now to sign out. Stay humble, stay hungry for information technology knowledge. Until next time, stay blessed.